On March 18th of this year, two female German backpackers, 18 and 19 years old, arrived in Honolulu, planning a 5-week adventure. Instead, they were denied entry, detained by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, held overnight in a federal facility, aka a prison, strip-searched, and deported the next day. U.S. officials thought they were planning to work illegally, even though they came in under the visa waiver program. Their flexible plans, few accommodation bookings, and mention of freelance work raised red flags. Not having a full trip itinerary or proof of accommodation isn't technically a visa violation, but it can make immigration officers suspicious. In the German girls' case, they told a German magazine, "We arrived in Honolulu from New Zealand, planning to explore the islands, then fly to the mainland. We'd only booked 2 nights in an Airbnb so we could stay flexible like we did in New Zealand. We had an onward ticket to Asia, but no U.S. flights booked yet." The girls had valid ESTA approvals under the visa waiver program, but when CBP officers pulled them aside, those flexible plans likely raised the first red flag, because they were planning to stay 5 weeks in the U.S., in Hawaii, but only booked the first 2 nights. That doesn't look very great, because Hawaii is a very expensive vacation destination. If you're planning to stay at hotels, the average can be anywhere from $300 to $400 a night, and Hawaii's not really known for having a lot of budget hotel or accommodation options. To add to that, they were arriving during peak season, so how are they going to afford 5 weeks staying in Hawaii? Another red flag was that they didn't have proof of where they were going after the U.S. Proof of onward travel means showing a flight or booking that proves that you'll be leaving the country before your visa ends. It shows immigration that you won't overstay your visa, or admitting to remote work or freelancing without the right visa. The girls admitted that they sometimes did freelance gigs for clients in Germany and Asia. That admission pretty much sealed their fate, because officers then searched into their phones and found emails referencing that work and saw it as a sign that they planned to work while in the U.S. And even I didn't know this part, is that immigration doesn't care where your clients are located. They care where you are physically at when you are working. So even if you're working for a foreign company in another country, if you're doing it from inside the U.S. on a tourist visa, it's a violation. The girls only had a ticket leaving Asia, not leaving the U.S. or going back to Germany. Mistake number 3 is improvising your travel plans at the border. The girls later admitted that they thought about booking dummy tickets or printing travel plans, but then at the last minute decided not to. Improvising at the border or on your visa application is not a strategy. When you're backpacking, you get used to traveling without a plan. Sometimes you want to decide your next move once you've already landed in your destination, and I've done that plenty of times myself. But immigration and visas, that's one area I never wing. Even if my travel plans are wide open, I still take those 2 things very seriously. It could be denied entry, banned from the country for 5 years, or deported. One of the girls later wrote in a post, they wanted to send us back to Auckland on the next flight, but we asked to rebook our tickets for the next day so we could continue our travels. They agreed, but said we'd be detained overnight. We thought that we just wait in the same room where they interviewed us, but no. So the CBP Hawaii actually honored the request to rebook their flights to Japan. They didn't have to. It's my understanding that if you are denied entry into a country, you're usually sent back on the next flight to the country you just came from. That's why the airlines check your visas before you board, because they're actually responsible for you. The overnight prison stay and the strip search could have been avoided if the girls had gotten on the flight back to Auckland. Since the flight wasn't until the next day, they had to stay overnight in federal custody. The nearest holding facility that met federal standards happened to be a prison, and that's why they were strip searched and held overnight. It's standard for anyone going into the prison system. Strip searches and prison stays are not an automatic punishment. They're part of the federal holding and detainment process. Could this happen to you or me? Yes. But immigration doesn't care about your spontaneity. They care about your documentation and whether you plan to work or overstay.